Hi, all. A very warm welcome to yet another Swiggy Catalyst session. It's an exclusive live webinar session for all the restaurant partners. For those of you who are joining us for the first time today, I'd like to give you an example or tell you about what Swiggy Catalyst is. It's an invite-only session where we at Swiggy pick important topics, business topics, or topics of interest for partners and discuss them with the business experts. We believe in absolutely extending our support towards the holistic support for our partners. And today, one of such topics that we have picked up is on menu engineering. We understand in the online world how important a menu is, and you've done several such sessions in the past on menu, talking about important tools that are available on Swiggy today for all the partners to make use of and improve their menu quality overall. In fact, some sessions that we had done previously are available on the Swiggy Partners YouTube channel and also on Learning Station. Learning Station is a digital academy that is available for all the partners on the owner and the partner app. You can check them out today. You'll be able to see an icon which is which is the digital academy, where you'll be able to view all these previous courses available for you just under a few clicks. And you will not just that, what you will also find in Learning Station are expert videos from experts of the culinary world. So we have everything and all the learning options for you there under Learning Station. Uh, Today, we will be talking about menu engineering. And for that, I have a very special speaker with us. I'd like to welcome Chef Uma Shankar, who's joined us today for a session on menu engineering. To give little bit of introduction to to Chef Uma Shankar, he is the first Indian bronze medal winner from the Culinary Olympics at Germany. He's also won gold and bronze medal from Salon Culinaire in Australia. He is a recipient of Star Chef and Young Chef's Mentor Award from IFCA. He is also a guest faculty in the leading culinary colleges in the country. He has about 20 plus years of experience in culinary, QSR, retail operations, and learning and development in the culinary industry. He's multi-skilled he's a food stylist, he's a photographer, he is an F&B operator, is a calligraphist and a culinary artist. So Chef Uma Shankar, we'd really like to extend a warm welcome to you. Thanks a lot for taking time and joining us today.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here and giving me an opportunity to share the little knowledge that I have on the menu engineering. Before I just begin, let me also give you a brief about my journey into the food business. I just did not get into the college, just wanted to study culinary arts. But I have grown along with food. In fact, I am the fourth generation of cook at home. We didn't want to continue that the unprofessional or on the job way of learning things and then move on. So when I did my 10th standard and I realized that I have the passion towards the food, because we were selling idlis and dosas on the street side, and that used to be my routine. Uh, I really don't remember since when, but I recollect those memories until 12th standard. I sit at our shop, which is not even a shop; it is just on the street side, and I love looking at the food, and I love preparing them and serving it to the customers. So the interest, probably the passion, started from the unknown days. And then I decided, after completing my 12th standard, what if I study this course or this particular food professionally? By then, I didn't even know that there was a course existing called culinary arts. Few good folks guided me to study culinary arts from one of the best institution in India called Culinary Academy of India, Hyderabad. That is when I learned the professional nuances of food and started working for hotels, restaurants, cruise line, and in fact QSR. So the journey has been very grateful. I had multiple opportunities, because not every chef will get an opportunity to explore the different formats of the food and beverage operations. But I was so fortunate. I had the opportunity to not only explore but have hands-on experience on all the different formats of food and beverage operations. It is indeed great pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for inviting me, Shweta.
Thank you, Chef Umar Shankar. It's indeed a pleasure to have you here. Definitely, with the experience that you carry, I'm sure you will be able to provide a lot of insights to the partners who've joined us today. So, here today, right, we are here to talk about menu in general. A menu to a restaurant is like a map, roadmap for a traveler, right? And it's a powerful marketing tool also for a restaurant, especially in the online world. So while we are here, partners, today discussing about menu engineering, and before I ask my first question to Chef, I'd like to ask all of you a question here. There is a poll that will launch on your screen. The first question I'd like to check from all of you is, have you heard or did you hear about menu engineering before, or have you heard of menu engineering in general? So you'll see a poll launched for all of you on the screen. Go ahead and punch your answers. We'd love to know. So you would be able to see the questions. We've started getting answers, Chef, and I'm sure you'll be able
Yes,
to
I
see
can
them
see that.
too. Yes, it's a half 50-50 split that we see so far.
Yes, it's quite interesting to see.
Correct.
50% of the people are aware.
Yeah. All right. Great. We've got some interesting inputs and responses from partners. About 51%. So we can say a half of split. Half of them know about menu engineering and half of them don't. So could you tell us what is menu engineering?
Okay, before I do talk about menu engineering, let me put a disclaimer. Please don't get carried away by the word engineering. Uh, this is a terminology that has been used in the industry, so it is very simple, but quite popular technique to understand and the menu that you have in the restaurant and each of the menu item that you have. So it's a popular technique to understand your menu and arrive at what are the items that are popular and what are the items that are profitable. So eventually, the menu engineering approach will help you run your restaurant profitably. So that's how I want you to take. Please don't get carried away with the terminology menu engineering, but it's a very simple technique to understand your menu and optimize the popularity and profitability of each of the items in your menu. As simple as that.
Interesting. You know how there's a technique which will help you to understand what items are doing really well. So, what are certain tips, Chef, that you'd like to suggest to the partners who joined today on how they can drive this maximum profit from their menu, and how can they go about picking up this exercise on menu engineering? What should
Right.
be the first step that a partner must take in case they're tweaking or analyzing their menu?
Got you, Shweta. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of startups, a lot of people who have become a restaurateur and operating their restaurants may or may not have professional experience of running a restaurant. But this technique, when you apply, I'm sure it would definitely give you a lot of insights to understand your menu. As Shweta rightly said, it is a roadblock, I mean, a complete roadmap. Maybe a step we can take it forward and say it is the heart of the entire restaurant operations. It is the complete heart of your restaurant operations, and you need to like how much care that you would give for your heart is the care that I want you to give to your menu also. And this is one particular technique that is a kind of diagnosis for your menu and will give you the complete information of or the health of your menu. Now, to do this, I have arrived at a four-step simple process, considering there are professionals and non-professionals who are budding restaurateurs. So these four steps are very simple. And number one, so please be with me. This is the most important aspect of this session, probably the most critical part of this session as well. There are only four steps to this technique. First one, you will have to get the menu related information. I repeat, before you begin understanding your menu, you should have all the informations related to your menu handy. That is the first step. I'm sure this step is not going to be very challenging because You know about your menu, and you will definitely have the informations of the menu. But I will take you through in detail about each of the steps at the later stage. Now, let us first complete the four steps. First step is to have all the menu related information handy. Number two, the next step, step two, is to understand popularity and profitability. Now, I will also take you in detail about what I mean by popularity and what I mean by profitability. How do you get insights from these popularity and profitability from the information, I mean, menu related information that you have. Third one, or the third step rather, is identify SPPD. I repeat, identify SPPD. I will take you through in detail again what are these SPPD at the later stage. And the last step, fourth step, is the action plan based on the first three steps that you do. So far, we have seen the four-step process of conducting menu engineering. So the first step is to have all the menu related information handy. Second step is to ensure that you understand what popularity and profitability of your menu items are. Third is to identify the SPPD to take the fourth step, that is action plan. Now we'll take you through in detail about each of this. Now let us look at the first step. Are you with me for so far for all the first four steps? Do
Partners,
we
you
have?
can probably show a thumbs up
Yes,
as a reaction if
yes.
that's enabled for you.
Yeah, I could see. Thank you, Yash. Thank you, Satish. Thank you, Deepak. Great. So let us now look into detail of each of the steps. Now, to start with, have sufficient menu related information handy. What are the information we need? First one, the list of menu items that you have published in your menu card or online. All the items you will have some starters, some main course, some desserts. So put all the menu items in one list. That is the first information that you should have. Number two, you should also have the selling price of each of the menu items. It is not always necessary for a restaurateur to be aware of the selling price. So please have them handy and put it into an Excel sheet. So the first information is menu item names, and second information is the selling price of each of the menu item. And the third information that you should have handy is the number of units sold under each of the menu item. Let's say, for an example, if your menu has three important items, like let's say we have idli, we have masala vada, then we have a filter coffee. Now you will have these three lists. I have idli, I have masala vada, and I have filter coffee. And the selling price of idli, two piece idli 20 rupees, and my vada one piece 10 rupees, and my filter coffee 10 rupees. So these are selling price. Then the next one is the number of units sold for a specific period for which you are conducting this analysis or the technique. Okay, now if you are doing it for a week, okay, how many portions of idlis are sold for a week? How many portions of vada are sold for the week? How many portions of coffees are sold for the week? So that is what I mean as the number of units sold. So far you have three informations ready. One is the list of menu items. Number two is the selling price. Number three is the number of units sold. The last piece of information that you must also have handy is the cost price. Some people call this as food cost, some people call this as cost price, some may call it as bill of material, BOM, some may even call it as cost of sale, COS. But do not worry with these jargons, but it is simply a food cost, the material cost involved in preparing a particular dish. We will also help you, if time permits, how do we arrive at food cost. That itself is a complete workshop where I'm sure many will have a lot of doubts in how do I arrive at a menu cost. Let's say for masala vada. While I have all the ingredients ready with the grammage, I do not know how much oil each vada would absorb. So how do I factor the consumption of oil? How would I factor the consumption of LPG gas into my food cost? This is one big subject. Shweta, you can make a note maybe if the restaurateurs here are interested, we can certainly host one more program on food costs separately. How do we arrive at our food cost? So to your understanding, it is nothing but the material cost for each of these items that you are selling. So we have four informations that are kept handy. Now keep that aside. Moving on to the second step in detail, I talked about understand popularity and profitability. Okay, now what do we mean by popularity? There are, let's say, three items that we have seen in the menu, sample menu that I've explained: idli, masala vada, and then filter coffee. Now, which of these items are selling the most? Let's say for a period of 1 month, I have sold 500 portions of idli, 200 portions of vada, and 100 portions of filter coffee. Now, in this case, the popularity is based on the number of units sold. So, idli has the highest popularity. So, this is what I mean as popularity, and it is very straightforward. Total, the maximum number of units sold are considered here as the popularity. Okay, now what is the second part of it? Profitability. When we say profitability, it is not the bottom line, it is about contribution margin. Professionally, people say contribution margin, which is nothing but your selling price minus cost price is equal to contribution margin. So, this contribution margin is what we mean in the process of conducting menu engineering as profitability. Are we clear so far? I have taken you through two steps in detail. If you are clear, can I have a thumbs up? Thank you, Samsung. Thank you, Deepak. Thank you, iPad. Thank you, Dell. Thank you, Deepak, again. Thank you, Kailash. Good. So we will move on to the fourth important step. Third important step. Identify SPPD. What are these SPPD? I just wanted to share a screen so that it is easy for us to understand or me to explain you what these SPPDs are. Just give me a second. Let me share my screen. Can we see the menu engineering matrix screen that is visible?
Yes, Suma, we can see.
Great, thank you. Okay, now what are these SPPD? S stands for star. These are just the terminologies that have been used by the industry professionals to identify the menu items that we have. But what are these stars? S stands for star. Usually, out of all the menu items, there would be a bunch of items that are usually high in popularity and high in profitability too. So based on the combo of popularity and profitability, these four metrics or four quadrants are arrived. And each of these buckets will have certain measurements. Okay, dishes that are usually high in popularity and high in profitability will come under star. Okay, what is the next one? Which is puzzle. P stands for puzzle, which is high in popularity but low in profitability, which means it is low in contribution margin. The next one, P, which stands for flow horse. You know what flow horse does? It takes a lot of loads, works hard, and that's what we mean. It is very high in popularity, but low in profitability. So I'm sure you might have a lot of questions around it. Why should we have such dishes? I will definitely answer those questions at the end. So once again, flow horses are the bunch of items of your menu which are very high in popularity You don't have to take any effort to promote those dishes, but customers by themselves or guests by themselves will order those dishes by name. You don't have to take any effort. Even if you do not have such dishes being listed anywhere prominently, customers would still come and order those dishes. So these are very popular, but has a very low profitability or a contribution margin. And this particular bucket is called flow hearts. The last one, which is D, D stands for dog, and these are usually dishes or the menu items which are very, very low in popularity and very, very low in profitability too. Okay, now this is what is most important. Now you have bunch of informations from the menu that you have already discussed. You have arrived, you have kept everything handy, you understood what popularity is, what profitability is. Popularity is the number of units sold, and profitability is selling price minus cost price, which is contribution margin. The other way, in the other way, we call it as profitability. So these are the four most important steps with which we also now aware about stars, puzzles, flow horses, and dogs. Are we clear with the concept of stars, puzzles, flow horses, and dogs? If you are, please give me a thumbs up. Now we will move on to the most important step, which is action plan. Great. I could see some thumbs up. Thank you so much. Now, the fourth important step, which is the most critical for you as a restaurateur to take decisions. Now, while there are generic suggestions that I can always give you to action under each of these buckets. Okay, now to start with, let me say you have a list of items and you wanted to arrive at uh, action plan for stars. What can be the action plan for the dishes that are coming under stars? Now, if you have a question, how do I arrive at this is the information that I have handy. Don't worry, I will take you through that at the next part of it. But let me tell you what actions you should take for each of these buckets. Now, star dishes, you should be very, very, very mindful. These are very popular. Probably it can be the signature dishes of your restaurant, and these are very, very profitable also. So, the very first responsibility of any restaurateur or any chef in the restaurant is to ensure these dishes never go out of stock, or these dishes you never put a board sold out. It's very, very important because since it is very high in popularity, it gives us a very clear information or insight that your customers love these dishes. And hence, you should never disappoint your customers by saying that the dishes are sold out or item out of stock. This should never happen. This is one key important action plan that you should take for the items that are bucketed under stars. Are we clear with this? Stars are the probably brand ambassadors of your restaurant. Stars are the cash cows for your restaurant. So you should ensure that the items that are bucketed under stars never go out of stock. This is one important action plan that you should arrive, and this is default action plan for any restaurant. Are we clear with this before I move on to the next action plan or next bucket? Great. Thank you. Instantly, five people have raised hands. That gives me an understanding that you are with me. Okay, moving on to the puzzles. Now, what are puzzles? Bunch of items that are quite profitable in terms of uh, the pricing, but it is very, very low in popularity because customers either not aware or there could be a reason customers are not liking it too. There are two variants to it. Now, assuming that the dishes are we are serving to the best quality with the best taste. Now, if it is low in popularity, what can be the action plan? Number one, you will have to ensure that these dishes are becoming popular. For which, number one, you can do uh, sampling of these dishes at a micro quantity. for the regular customers, maybe the customers who are buying the star dishes. So that's the best way to put it across. Now, for every customer who is experiencing any of your star dishes, you can always do a sampling of a micro portion to them and seek feedback. Or it is an opportunity for them to experience a new dish. They may not know the name by looking at the name of the dish. They may not correlate with what dish it is, why it is, what it is. And they will not even have that inclination towards trying it. There could be various reasons, but we should take the necessary steps to ensure we give an opportunity for our regular customers who are ordering our star dishes to experience the dish that are low in popularity. This is one technique that you can use to popularize your dish. What are the other techniques? Number two, if you have multiple channels of business like dine in, takeaway, and delivery. Now, for a dine in business, their popularity can always built by various means. We collectively call this as menu merchandising. Now, menu merchandising is nothing but an effort taken to promote a particular item in the menu using various sources such as facades, your standees, wall panels, tent cards, or even a leaflets that goes with your takeaway order. So these are some of the menu merchandising techniques that you can use to promote these dishes. Okay, now how do I promote these dishes in the wall panels, facades? Of course, with a very good, appetizing, relevant image of the menu items that are low in popularity and prominently placing it to the visibility of the customer. That's very important. And these are the two important action plans which will help you to increase the popularity of the items that are bucketed under puzzle. Are we clear with puzzle? Shweta, can you help me with the raised hands? I'm not able to see the raised hands because it is full already. I see full of raised
Yeah.
hands.
No, no. So there are partners who are showing thumbs up.
Great. Okay, that's
So it's
about
increasing, yeah.
puzzles. Now moving on to the third bucket, which is flow hearts. Now this dish is quite popular amongst consumers, but it is low in profitability. Now you might have simple questions. Now, if it is low in profitability, can I increase the price instantly? I do not have a ready-made answer because these dishes are quite popular amongst consumers or customers. Now, when it is quite popular, that means they know about the dish, they know about the taste and everything. So there are a bunch of customers who always walk into restaurants for those known dishes, and then they might always try the additional dishes. Let's say the very popular example can be idli dosa. We don't really need someone to explain about idli dosa for us. So these people, when they come for idli dosa, where they will not only have idli dosa, but they can always buy the other items such as vada, which would definitely have a different bucketing, and maybe they can always try filter coffee. So this the answer for such questions like, okay, it is high in popularity, low in profitability. Should I continue these dishes? Yes, you should continue because a menu can never have only star dishes. Menu is a combination of all these four buckets, but this technique will help you to move most of your dishes to the star, but you will still live with some dishes as flow horses and some dishes as puzzle. So that's about flow horses. So the action plan for the flow horses are is almost similar to the one that I have talked about, star dishes, because this dish is very popular. Any dish that is quite popular in your restaurant should never go item out of stock, or should never put a board called sold out. And these dishes are kind of counters for you because they come and experience the dishes that are bucketed under puzzle. So these dishes must always be retained in the menu and utilize these customers to experiment your dishes that are bucketed under puzzle. So that there is a possibility that you move the puzzle items to a star. So that's about the third bucket. Now, fourth and the last These dishes are usually low in profitability, low in popularity. And this is unlike plohas, where I did not give you any straightforward answer. But the dishes that are low in popularity and low in profitability, you must definitely spend time to understand should you continue with these menu items. The reasons why you should think about are: number one, any menu item that you are designing in your menu or planning in your menu comes with three different factors: the materials required for these dishes, the machine required for preparing these dishes, and the men to skillfully create those dishes. Now, if these dishes are under the dogs are not sold, if these dishes are not profitable, you will end up having certain amount of par stock in the form of raw materials. You would have already invested in equipment for these dishes, and there is also a person who is preparing these dishes. So all these are dead cost, we technically call it as. So you need to take a wise call as to whether you should we continue with these dog dishes in the menu. Now, there is a second reason why I say you must revisit and remove the dishes that are bucket under a dog is only when you have room for including a new variety of items into your menu, uh, then you can do it. I'll give you this is one common thumb rule that is being followed in QSR: one dish on the shelf, one dish off the shelf. This is the thumb rule that they follow. Any QSR brand that you pick it up, the moment they introduce one dish to the customer to break the monotony of the regular dishes that they have, they will obviously let go of one dish which are usually a dog dish. This is very evident. You can look at any of the QSR. This is very strict technique that they follow, because the entire menu planning is done based on materials, men, and the equipment. So they will let go of the dishes that are bucketed in the dog and bring in something new for customers to experience, for customers to break that monotony of the menu items that are being published. So these are two reasons why I want you to revisit on the items that are bucketed under a dog and take wise decisions. So when you are let go of a dish, you don't have to keep that cavity blank, but you can always bring in something new to offer something new to your customer. That would also help your customer to experience something new from their favorite restaurant. So that's about SPPD. Are we clear with this concept of SPPD so far?
Uma, you're getting thumbs up.
Great. So that's about the menu engineering technique. Now, as I told you, I'm sure by now you will understand there are no engineering involved here. It is a technique that we apply to understand the popularity and profitability of each of the menu items that we have. So, how each of these menu items behaves in terms of popularity and profitability, which also gives us a cutting edge advantage to arrive at our action plan. And we have also covered the action plan for each of these buckets. And these are the general action plans taken all across the world. But I leave it to you completely. You are the owner of your restaurant. As restaurateur, I'm sure you know what actions to take, keeping these common action plan in mind.
Got it. Uma, is there a template that partners can see how to, input these inputs, the numbers from the important menu numbers, and then how to evaluate that? How do they enter their menu items and the cost price and that evaluation?
Yes. So yes, we have. I just wanted to take you through this template. Okay. Now, if you look at this is a common template. Uh, it is suitable for any format of restaurant, any cuisines that you serve, or uh, any kind of scale, whether it is small scale or large scale. Now, if you look at this format, it has got multiple rows and columns, and rows are in general the menu item. You can see column A. which talks about menu item name. You will list down all the menu items. It is the menu engineering process is not limited to limited number of menu items. Let's say if you have 100 menu items in your menu, you will have to enter all the 100 menu items here in the column A. So this is where you will enter all the menu items. It is not, no, you select partially and then do the analysis. That analysis will not give you the right information that we want to arrive at profitability and popularity. So the call out here is, if there are 100 menu items in your restaurant, you will have to list all the 100 menu items here under the column A. Now, column B, you could always see there are white columns that I have highlighted. These columns are the columns where you will have to key in your inputs. Rest all will automatically populate for your ease, and it will also give you the final classification of the menu item, whether it is a S, P, P, D, which are stars, puzzles, flow horses, and dogs. Now, in the second column, which is column B, number of units sold. This is what the popularity that we talked about. So you will only enter the number of units sold against each of the menu items that we have listed here. Now, next one is column D. Now, under the column D, if you have the food cost handy, you will ensure that you will key in the cost price of each of the menu item accurately, so that you will be able to arrive at the final numbers. Now, the last input that you would give here is only the selling price or the published price of each of the menu items. Once you give these three inputs, you will be able to arrive at the popularity percentage. Generally, we call this technically as menu mix percentage. Menu mix percentage, just for you to learn something new, but do not worry about those terms. It's professionally called menu mix percentage, but for your understanding, I've mentioned it as a popularity percentage. So these popularity percentage is for you to quickly understand which dishes are popular. Okay, then you have item-wise profit. Now, this item-wise profit and total profit are two different aspects. I wanted to clarify this here. Now, let's say there is one dish which is very high in popularity, a high in profit margin. Let's say masala vada, I am selling it for 10 rupees and my cost price is 2 rupees. So food cost here is only 20%, which is excellent food cost percentage to operate any restaurant. Now the contribution margin is 80. But now will I keep only this item or this number to arrive at whether it is a star dish? No, I will not. I will also see how many units are being sold and what is the total revenue that I'm generating out of this item, based on which I will arrive at the final marking or final mapping of the stars, puzzles, flow horses, and dots. So be clear on this. It is not about individual unit profitability. It is the to be very simple. What is the final revenue that I am generating out of each of these menu items? Basis the popularity, basis the food cost. That's the way we calculate our menu engineering. So this is one of the easiest format for you to understand. You don't have to be a professional chef or a food and beverage operator or a food and beverage manager to do this calculation. It's very straightforward. All you need to have are four informations. One is menu item name, one is a number of units sold under each of the menu item price or the food cost or cost price of the menu item, and then finally the selling price. If you key in, this report will tell you which are the items that are popular, stars, which are the items are puzzles, which are the items are flow horses and dogs. So I'm sure this will help Shweta.
Got it. Thanks a lot, Chef, for that detailed insight and walking everybody through, how to read it and how to classify, even identify the items on their menu, which are really helping them drive profits for themselves. So, is this a set template, that partners can get started with respect to menu engineering?
Yes, Shweta, I will give the same template which has got instructions to use, which also helps them to understand, even calculate their overall food cost. Item-wise food cost we discussed, but this template that I would share with you, in turn, you can also share with all the restaurateurs here. This will definitely help them to arrive at the final food cost and what is the overall profitability of the restaurant in a single click. I will share it with you.
Got it. Got it. Thank you, Chef. So we've talked about menu engineering in general, right? And we understand that when you talk about menu in a physical and an online world, it's very, very different. So before I ask you the next question, I have a question for all the participants who've joined us here. The next question, partners, we want your answers on is which of the elements do you think are very important when we are especially talking about a menu in an online setup? Like not in the physical setup, not in the setup where customers are walking in, but in an online setup, which of these elements do you feel are very important? You will see a next poll launched on your screen. Please go ahead and punch your answers there. Got it. So you got some interesting responses here, Chef. So with these responses, the next question that I'd like to ask you is this: yes, that there is a fundamental difference between physical and an online menu, right? What are
Correct.
those elements do you feel are very important when we talk about menu engineering with respect to an online menu? There are aspects like images and descriptions. So what is your take? What would you suggest partners here today
Great.
when
So
when
now,
you're talking about online?
while the question is directly anchored on online menu, but I also wanted to pull some example from the offline scenario that will make them understand how important and what steps should they take when they actually build their online. Now, if you walk into any casual fine dining or a semi-fine dining restaurant, uh, you can see there is a host or a steward or a captain welcoming you, making you feel comfortable, and then presenting the menu card. Now, it is not only presenting the menu card and letting them to choose on their own, while lot of thoughts and process has already gone inside planning and designing a menu. The steward's responsibility is to ensure that the guest who walked into the restaurant has great meal experience. Whether it is, say, there are two things: great meal and great experience. Now, let us break these two into two parts. Now, for an offline restaurant, it is great meal plus great experience. And for an online platform, while the experience part is still not able to ensure, but the offering great meal is very, very important. That is in our hand. Now, if you, I'm sure you, each one of you would have experience. A steward will come and talk to you. He will explain about the signature dishes of the restaurant. Usually, when we go and ask what is the specialty of your restaurant, if we do not know, then he would explain about the dishes. He would explain about the specialities. He will explain about starters, main course, and dessert, and try to ensure that every meal has a starter and a main course and then finally a dessert. Now, this is very, very vital. Now, let us take the same approach over here. Now, when we plan or build our online menu, while we have, uh, while I'm sure everybody is aware of the popular technique called a la carte, where the items are individually ordered or placed. Now, there is also something called table d'hôte, which is again a technical French term, which is a set or a fixed menu. That is what in general we call combos. Now, these combos are, it's not something new. It is again a table d'hôte, where a customer do not find much time to go over the menu, choose the starter, main course, and the dessert, are offered multiple combos where there is a starter, or maybe there is a drink, there is a starter, there is a main course, and there is also a dessert. So it saves a lot of their time in going over the menu, flipping through the pages, and arriving at the final order. So keeping this in mind, now when we build our menu, we need to also keep the clientele profile. I'm just giving you concept by concept. The first concept is to understand in the offline, there is a steward to help the customer to choose the right dishes and have a great meal experience. So since we do not have a steward in the online menu, it is we who should give that keep that point in mind while planning the menu for online business. Number two, the entire meal. There is a it's a complete meal. It is not, whether it is 3 course, 4 course, or 5 course. I leave that to you. But at least to start with a basic, there is a drink, there is a main course, and there is a dessert. At least this you could have sensed in most of the QSRs. These QSRs have combos, and these combos usually will have a drink, a starter, and then a main course, and probably a final dessert. It can be anything. So these combos are primarily promoted in a way that it not only saves time, it also saves little money for the consumer. That's how they promote in most of the QSRs. But it gives a great meal experience and saves a lot of time for the consumer. Now, moving on to the next one called the clientele. There are set of clientele who are cost conscious. There are set of clientele who are conscious about their meal experience. So you should have both a la carte and the combos. When I say combos, you can create the combo by yourself and keep it. And then when I say a la carte must always be having an option of add-ons or build your own meal. This is also a popular feature that has been tried by many QSR segments. Build your own meal. You can select and choose the starter, main course, and dessert. So add-on is one particular option that you should utilize to the core to build the meal by the consumer by themselves. So keep these points that I've explained between the online and of the offline business and arrive at the final meal. That, to be very precise, the option is yes, we should have a la carte and we should also have combo. We should definitely have the option of add-on so that customers can build their own meal.
Got it. Interesting, Chef, that you mentioned about combos and add-ons. There's a certain elements that at Swiggy, there's a dashboard that provides them about insights on how much of combos and add-ons that they have, and we covered this in one of our previous sessions also. So the next question to you would be: you spoke about menu engineering in detail, right? And you explained all the steps that goes into it. How often? I mean, this was a question that even Jamin had asked, one of our partners who've joined had asked, saying, how often should a partner do this exercise?
There are two things, Shweta. While I have my personal recommendation, basis the complexity uh, of the different restaurants. See, there are restaurants that are functioning completely automated, both at the back end and front end. For them, I will have a different frequency. And there are restaurants where uh, backend is completely manual. So for them, I will not recommend a particular frequency. Let's say, but if something is completely automated, both front and back end, I would say weekly, because our food business is a weekly business. So for those restaurants that do not have any challenges in identifying those menu information which I talked about, which are menu items. In one click, if they are able to get all those four informations, the selling price, cost price, and the popularity, which is number of units sold against each of the menu item, I would strongly recommend them to do it every week. And for others, considering the seasonality in India, I would recommend a minimum of once a quarter is very, very important. And there is a reason to it. Uh, Restaurant, the ingredients that we source are seasonal. Now, keeping that seasonality in mind will also help us in optimizing our cost of sale or the food cost. So, keeping that in mind, I would strongly recommend minimum once a quarter so that the cost of sale is optimized and eventually the restaurant is run profitably. If the data points are readily available, and then I would strongly recommend them to do at least once, I mean, every week. This will definitely help them to be very, very sharp on their dog dishes and start pruning those dishes and include something new to their customers.
Got it. Got it. So, Chef, it has been really, really insightful, all the information that you've given so far. In your experience, what do you think is the most important learning that you'd like to pass on to all the partners who've joined today?
Okay. Uh, while this entire concept or the technique of using menu engineering sounds a little theory, but trust me, I'll just quote one example from Chennai. I did consult a lot of restaurants in Chennai and some of the restaurants in the south. One leading restaurant chain, a vegetarian restaurant chain in Chennai, when I met the owners for the first time, they had no clue about what cost is. They had no clue about what the profitability of each of the menu item is. When I took them through in the first meet, that I would help you to streamline your menu and let you know which are the items that are actually helping you to fetch the maximum profitability, so that you can help to ensure that these dishes never go out of stock, so that you when it is not out of stock, your top line is ensured. I presented for the very first time. When I presented, they were very, very doubtful. That this format, how can this format change their restaurant business? Exactly after 3 months, they called me back to have a review, and when I presented the numbers, they felt extremely happy, and they now had a very clear insights on what actions to be taken and which kind of cooks in their restaurants are most valued member for them, and how can I retain those valued member of my kitchen, so that my star dishes remain star and my top line never goes low. And to an extent, these owners, they have made this as one slide information in their monthly business review meeting now, and I do get in touch with them once in a while to understand if this is really helping. Now they have also expanded into different brands and started using it from the right from the day one. In fact, they have started using from the kitchen planning itself, because when you plan menu, there are many things that we need to consider. Right from the kitchen planning till the execution, and in fact on the P&L review, they do talk about which dish is pulling our scores low, which dish is actually helping them to retain their top line. So overall, I would strongly recommend every restaurateurs here sincerely apply this technique once and see. Then I'm sure you will have more insights than what I have shared today.
Got it. Chef Kumar, it has been an absolute delight and a very pleasant conversation from you to understand what are those elements on a menu which can go on, leading to identifying popularity, profitability, and driving profits out of that exercise. We really thank you for taking time today and joining us. Thanks a lot. And we definitely like to hear and see more such information from you. Like it mentioned, we'll definitely see if there's a scope of having another session on planning food costs and in general understanding those concepts as well.
Thank you, Shweta. Thank you very much. And thank you all for spending your valuable time to listen to me. Thank you very much.